Premium Grooming Essentials. Crisp products provide you with excellent hair and skin products, along with high-quality grooming products for the hair of the future. Their multi-use professional product for barbers and cosmetologists will make your desired hairlines, goatees, and eyebrows pleasingly crisp, keeping your desired lines and shapes crisp by Mook the Barber. Go to www.crispproducts.com. CRISPRODCMOOKTS today. Crisp. Mook the Barber. Crisp. Mook the Barber.
Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in this afternoon to Intimate Conversations with Talitha Kume, presented by Food for the Soul Media Group here on Hot 702.5 FM and live on our FB page, Food for the Soul. If you guys haven't already, go like our page, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube stations, Food for the Soul Media Group and Intimate Conversations. And if you would like to be a sponsor, hit us up at www.foodforthesoulmediagroup.press or email us at foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com. You guys, and remember, if you would like to be a part of our conversation, you can do so by calling in at 702-551-5261, or you can do so by leaving a comment on our Facebook page. And don't forget to hashtag us at hashtag Food for the Soul and Intimate Conversations, you guys. Yep. So for our last theme for the month, I chose nature or nurture as our theme for this month, because it's been such a weird year, you guys. It's been such a roller coaster ride as far as the COVID and everything is going on. Yep. And so we're just trying to make sense of it, and I was just trying to find really cool topics to talk about, and this one struck me as something that would be interesting that we might be able to discuss. So nature or nurture, are things or people made, or is everything in our DNA, or is it hereditary? So that's what we're kind of talking about for this month. And today's show, we are asking if we are truly products of our environment. Are we our environment, or are we do we make our environment, if that makes sense to you guys? So it's Second Friday. I got my baby with me today. Y'all pray for me, because I am trying to get Bobby B to join me on the show full time. So I want you guys to be able to see him not just on Second Fridays, but every Friday that we are on. Like, can't y'all see Intimate Conversations with Talitha Kume and Big Bobby B? So you guys pray for me as I pray that he will come from behind the studio.
Man, y'all pray for me.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
Because he's a creator by nature. That's what he is. But he has a lot to say, so I want him to say some stuff. Anyway, so you guys, let's talk about it. We are asking if we're truly a product of our environment. Does the environment have that much effect on how we develop and how we live our lives? And so I believe that we are a product. I believe that we absolutely are a product of our environment. And so we are going to talk about two of the main reasons that you are your environment. And Bobby B, whenever you want to jump in, just let me know. I'm going to ask you some questions, but just whenever you want to jump in, let me know. But every day we are faced with tons of options. They bombard us from when to get out of bed to what we should do next. Some of these choices are tough. Others require patience and dedication. And then there are the tempting choices that we try to resist. They can creep up on us when we don't realize it. By the time we do, it's too late. Like any other cautionary tale, we end up falling prey to certain choices because of the environmental cues around us. Environmental cues are the objects in our surroundings that trigger certain thoughts and desires, causing us to behave in certain ways. Your decisions are largely influenced by what is around you. We only have a limited amount of willpower to make decisions before it runs out. And after that, our brains become tired and overwhelmed as a result. Most of our daily lives are made up of the same habits, day in and day out. So what do you think about that, Bob? Do you think that that's true or not true?
Yeah, totally true.
You think it is?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's true?
because it's what we do. It's you just said it here pretty clear. Sorry, y'all. This is not really. You got to pull me out to talk about stuff of this nature. It's not real my thing. But I'm not sure. I think we're definitely products of our environment.
So, products of our environment, how though? What do you think makes us a product of our own environment?
Things that we operate in, the way we operate, people we're with, places we go.
Okay. Well, how our environment affects our mental health is the first issue that we're going to talk about today. And then I'll give Bobby some time to think about some stuff as far as this is concerned. Because I know that he and myself, we have a lot of stories, a lot of examples of how we are products of our environment. This is what I think. Now, are there exceptions to the rule? Of course. But I would say probably 85%, 90% of us are affected by what we are surrounded by, and it's just that simple. It's nature. It's the way of life. And so I found the first article I am going to read is talking about how your environment affects your mental health. So we're talking about that and how our environment actually affects our mental health. So it says that lots of factors contribute to poor mental health, but genetics, personal history, diet, lifestyle, all of these play a part. However, when trying to parse the cause of our mental health struggles, many of us fail to consider one of the biggest factors of all, which is the environment in which we live our day-to-day lives. Mm-hmm. That is really what causes us to become who we are. So it says that it's given us some physical factors, some social factors, and I think that's it. So it's going to give us the physical factors first and then the social factors, right? And so it says that the physical factors are, the physical environment factors are hard factors which come from things like noise, temperatures, pollutants, and so on. They often are linked to soft social factors, but can occur independently, right? It says sleep deprivation is one of them. Sleep deprivation or an unhealthy sleep cycle is known to be bad for your mental health. There are plenty of environmental facts which could affect sleep cycles, not all of which are within our control, like noisy neighbors or loud or something loud nearby, nights that are too hot or too cold. Those are things that we can't affect, but they do affect our environment, which affect our mental health, right? It says environmental pollution. Growing up around dirty air quadruples a child's chance of developing depression later in life. I did not know that. Hazardous working conditions, like not just physical danger where you work, but it refers to any working condition which can put significant strain on your body and on your mind. If your work environment is stressful, your mental health can suffer. Social factors are also issues in the immediate family or wider community which can have an impact on your mental health. And it says stigma. Experiencing stigma such as racism, sexism, homophobia, or other, perhaps more insidious forms of prejudice is known to majorly increase a person's risk of mental illness. Discord, strife, and violence in the home or the community is also a big cause of anxiety, stress, depression, and even conditions like PTSD. Abuse, physical abuse, sexual or emotional, can affect, your mental health. Poverty, it says poverty attacks mental health from a great many angles. Lack of social support. Humans are social animals by nature. They're designed to rely on one another. Feeling ostracized or alone or otherwise unsupported within your community has a major impact upon your mental health. Toxic relationships. Toxic relationships can lower self-esteem, increase irritability, cause anxiety, contribute to depression, and even foster conditions, again, like PTSD. It says lack of safety. Feeling unsafe in your environment will bring with it a great deal of stress and anxiety. Some factors are a bit more ephemeral, I don't even know how to pronounce that, but not as easy to classify neatly. However, their impact should not be underestimated. And so this one was really, really interesting to me. It says lack of access to green spaces. Access to green or naturally beautiful spaces has a massively positive impact upon mental health.
Believe it.
To be trapped within concrete jungles means never getting the mental benefits of fresh air, green leaves, and so on, which could be something like, I guess, people sometimes that are in prison. Lack of visual stimulation. People often describe certain urban environments as bland or dull. And then it says, for the last one, it says oppressive untidiness, which is, it says untidiness makes us anxious on an instinctive and on a personal level. Instinctively, we are programmed to have a degree of anxiety about mess due to the health hazard that it may present. So it's saying that untidiness or not being in a clean environment, as far as I guess your house or maybe your room or whatever, can have an effect on your mental health. And so these are all facts that have to do with our environment as a whole. So it's home life, it's outside of our homes and where we live specifically, as far as cities, right. States, different things like that or whatever. So what do you think about the physical environment factors that may affect your mental health to nurture you into becoming who you are? Like examples of, if you can think of any examples of where you've seen maybe that someone living in a house with all black walls or something, or like I was saying,
I struggle with blanket conversations. Product of your environment that's not real. Anybody can be anything, right? So, like I have a cousin who lives in London, and it's always gray and depressing and this and that, but he's not. But if I was living there, I would definitely be that for sure.
Why?
Because I can't do it. I don't like the gloomy, sad, what the hell is this in the air? I don't like any of that. I don't like it. This weather here is good here. Like when we were in Dallas, it was kind of off and on. So I felt personally that weighed on my mental health because the weather was so inconsistent.
Really?
Yes, and I was talking to Biscuits about that this morning. That rain and all that, it missed me,
So the fact that it does not rain out here, that's what you like?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that we haven't seen rain in like 200 days. I haven't. And it's helped me mentally with my creativity. So I would say yes to the product of the environment, but it's not for everybody, that feeling. You know what I mean?
Of course. I don't think it is either, but I'm just saying percentage-wise, like the reason why I pick generalized topics like this is because it can pertain to anyone. So trying to be really, really specific is hard because all I can do is base it on my point of view or your point of view, and it's not an all-inclusive, like somebody can call in and say, hey, I believe this, or yeah, hey, this happened to me. Right. And so that's the reason why I kind of try and do blanketed topics, just to kind of get us to think about ourselves specifically.
No, I get it. I mean, but then, personally, but I think environment probably is just within you, with you and you're like in like 2 feet from you, wherever you can stretch your arm. That's your environment, I believe.
But
personally, so it's like whatever happens within that is what affects you. Outside of that, what are you sweating for?
Well, I think that.
Or what is that? How's that? Like murderers. Like you have went to school with some people who were some murderers or whatever, but it wasn't like all the cats are murderers just because we're in the hood. It was just a couple cats.
Right.
But the environment would say that it should have been more, but it really wasn't.
Mm-hmm. So. But that still goes back to what happens. I guess generally speaking, when you look at percentages. So when we're looking at percentages, we're talking about why there is a majority, because sometimes the percentages are high, low, but right. Majority wise, people would say that you are a product of your own environment. Like when we were talking about our movie Monday with trading places.
Now we're looking at like class, education, yes, or monetary, like your money, finances, yes.
But I'm just saying that
more detailed things, I don't think we can get that.
But we don't know how many people it affects unless you kind of really do a case study, which I'm sure that they have, because they do a case study on every doggone thing, right. But are they telling us the truth or not? That's the thing. But, now that we're finding out in 2020. But what I'm saying is that if we did a case study, I'm guessing all of these things that we were, that they discussed case study wise, you would probably see a large percentage of people who are affected. If I'm affected by racism, then that tends to make me the type of person that I am. If I'm affected by that, somebody is calling us. Somebody is calling actually, and I don't even see. But let's take a caller and see. So caller, you are on the air. I'm sorry, we have a little bit of technical difficulty. But what do you have to say about being a product of your own environment?
I would have to agree with that 100%. I'm a registered clinical licensed social worker in Florida.
Okay.
And
nice.
we are all products of our environment. What happens normally is when we hear that, we always think more so towards the negative.
Okay.
But we are just a sum total of our environment. So some of us have just wonderful environments. Some of us have a mixture. Some of us bring our own attitude and our own strengths and our own weaknesses to our environment. So all of that is who we are eventually, and the decisions that we make. And the list of things that you were reading, that's just on point research. So there are no absolutes.
Right.
Like if I can have one set of factors and another person can have similarly the same, and we may respond differently.
Okay.
But we're still a product of our environment.
Okay.
And I can just say this to, not to go on and get off, too much, because I can't do that on your show. But
yes.
As African Americans who are at the core of my concern always, is that a lot of times those factors that you were reading that tended to be heavily negative are often seen in our environment. And so we do have more of a tendency to have a negative impact from some of our environments. And that can be very disturbing for parents, for schools, and it ushers us into all those negative factors, prison, all of that.
So all the factors you're saying that I was reading, because they were mainly all pretty negative, you're saying that you found that a lot of African Americans experience a lot of these factors, whereas maybe other races do not?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And I've seen it in my work, child welfare. I've seen it in my work in the prison system, in the mental health system. Yes. And so such a large portion of our people experience so many negative factors. So it's almost like fighting your way up out of the barrel, so to speak. So those things are real.
Wow.
And it's not an excuse, but it is definitely a reason, an impact. And the mental health side of it is the part that's usually ignored from our perspective. We'll fight through everything else, but that mental health, because of those stigmas, because in our society, in our community, we don't really want to address those mental health, that depression.
Yes.
What it looks like in our men. It usually looks like anger in men, whereas in women it may look like being very promiscuous, or it may look like substance abuse. But in our men, it's anger, and so then we get into a lot of violence. We get into a lot of things that ends up with criminal side. So there's a lot of other factors. So yes, it's true. We are products of our environment. It's what we do with those that makes the difference in how we then shape it for ourselves and put our own spin when we get under our control, because kids don't have control that adults may have.
Absolutely. They don't. And so I thank you so much. I would love to have you, if you can respond on our page and put your information if you're taking any clients or anything like that, because what I feel like is the fact that some of us don't know, like we don't realize, like we don't see someone like you, so we don't know that our anger is depression, or we don't know that the environment that we're in is so sucky as far as maybe nature that might affect me differently than it affects Bobby. Right. So like, dang, why am I so depressed? We just moved here and all of our walls are white, or all of our walls are whatever color, and then I go to this job and it's just sucking the life out of me. So I'm not sure why I'm acting out this way, but going to someone like yourself can kind of help us to figure that out, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Yeah, and a
Well,
lot of
thank you.
people,
That's
yeah.
really big. That was really great information.
It was. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
take advantage of that. But thank you so much for calling in, and thank you so much for listening to us.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. As I wanted to talk about the
Wow.
that was really really good information, and like I said before, I had a mental health a counselor on my show last year when I was with my Food for the Soul intimate conversation show, and we talked about depression and different things like that. And I would love to invite her back on my show to kind of delve into that. Or if you caller, if you want to come back on the show and talk about that, I'd love to have you back on the show, because that is a real issue, especially right now in 2020, especially with everything that is going on right now with the death rate. Just found out about the suicide rate that has gotten so significantly high. It is ridiculous. The all of the legal things that are going on, the political things that are going on. We just have a whole lot going on, and families are trying to figure out how to deal with it, how to help, how to help each other deal with it, how to help our children deal with it, how to help our friends deal with it, how to help our parents deal with it, that are elderly. So it's a lot going on. But I wanted to talk about the poverty and the lack of support, and then the green spaces is kind of what I wanted to respond to, because I feel like being in an impoverished state absolutely has an effect on you being a product of your environment, or being your environment. So to me, even though, like you were saying, Bobby, it doesn't make your environment might not make a lot of murderers, but if I'm in an impoverished environment, it might make a lot of people that live in that environment make different decisions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they just don't know. They haven't been privy to a lot of knowledge. So they've been so oppressed with poverty and just trying to make it day to day. They're not doing some of the things that other people are doing. And so they become this product of being in this impoverished state, and they can't see their way out. You know what I'm saying? So
Totally.
I kind of wanted to hit on that, and then the lack of support, I think, makes a big difference too.
The lack of support might be because the supporters or the people that are expecting support can't, because they don't have the means of support.
Right.
So
and
it trickles down to.
Well, I'm talking about support, just support, just period.
Yeah, totally.
I'm talking about support, period. Like, Bobby, I support you in what you do. I may not have money to support you, but like we were talking about, it's about sharing your information. It's about, if I can model some of your clothes, or if whenever I'm in a room and I know that somebody is seeking someone like yourself, because you're a creative, so I'm always going to bring your name up.
Right.
And we talked about that before. Like, have friends that bring your name up in rooms that can help you in your business.
Right.
So whenever I'm around anyone, I'm like, hey, my husband does that, and they probably gonna get tired of me talking about my husband. But at the end of the day, I believe in you and I support you. And so if I can find an avenue where you can be great or you can be shine, I'm not gonna say nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say, oh, my husband does art. My husband does. Oh, you looking for a painting? My husband does that. He's a designer. He's an artist. And so that's what I'm talking about with support. When you have a lack of support, it's kind of like you can be great, but if no one is supporting you and you're all by yourself, then you become this product of this unsupported environment, and you tend to, again, make different type of choices that might not be the greatest for you, because you don't have anybody to bounce ideas off, or you might think that you're not that great because nobody has said, hey, you know what? You're doing a good job. I'm proud of you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to talk about that. And then the green spaces. That was very important to me because, you guys, I'm not an outside person, right? But I would say that whenever I see anything green, like we don't see a lot of that here where we live. Now, I'm not saying that green is not here in Las Vegas, but where we live, it's a lot of desert area. And so for me, even though I think that desert area and how we're able to see the sky at night a lot of times and different things like that, it's a peaceful kind of tranquil feel. It's different when you see greenery, green grass, flowers, and all that. Because I think, to me, when I see that, it makes me happy. It makes me happy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so would you not say then that people who might be around greener grass all the time, flowers, colors, different things like that, that they have more of an upbeat type of personality or something like that, or whatever?
How can you argue that, though?
Yeah.
Because it's like I look at the pretty grass from through my window in Dallas, which we have a lot of, and pretty trees. Then I step outside and it's raining.
Yeah.
And it's 42 degrees.
Okay.
Now it's like that pretty grass is gone to shit because it's raining.
Right.
So, product of what environment? Which one am I a product of at that moment?
The weather, the weather at that point, and not the greenery. So I mean, you know, on a great day, on a great sunny day like yesterday was, when I talked to my mom this morning. And I'm sorry, by the way, it is her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. Hope you celebrate well this weekend and turn up for the one time, you know what I'm saying? Since I'm not going to be able to be there.
How's she supposed to turn up?
She can turn up.
What kind of turn up does she do?
She can still turn up. She might have her a little bit of brandy or something like that in her coffee, maybe, you know?
No.
You don't know what type of turn up she's going to do.
Ripple and
Yeah,
Girls.
anyway, she might have some Jello shots. We don't know. But anyway, so happy birthday to you.
Ripple and Golden Girls.
But shut up. I was talking to her, though, about how it was in Houston yesterday, and she was just saying that that it was a beautiful day yesterday in Houston. And so my brother and my brothers and myself, we got a chance to talk to my dad. And so my dad is in he's in a home, right? And so we get a chance to Zoom every week and we talk to him. And yesterday he was so doggone talkative and in the mix, and you know, and responding and putting his thumb up and all this other kind of stuff or whatever. And so we were like, golly, you know, Dad really had a great day. But she was saying that the weather was good yesterday. And so that could mean, you know, that could be the same thing. The product of that.
He had a great day
weather,
talking to you, or a great day talking to her?
A great day talking to us. And she said he was very lively when she went to visit him yesterday too, after we talked to him. So she said he was lively, kind of moving around in his wheelchair and stuff like that or whatever. And so I'm saying it might have been because of the weather, because of the good day.
Or it could have been because he talked to you guys first.
It could
Maybe
have
she
been.
doesn't talk to him after y'all talk to him.
It could have been. So maybe we should try that. We talk to him first, and he gets all hype about Marcus talking to him crazy, and then she goes to visit him, and then we'll have a good day. But anyway, you guys, we're going to talk about the last reason you are a product of your environment. We're at about 30 minutes in when we come back, but we'll talk about that, and we'll tell you some simple steps on how to change some of that. So if you just tuned in, you're listening to Intimate Conversations with Talitha Kume and Big Bobby B, and we shall be right back.
60% of the time, I rock or lay worldwide. 100% of the time, winter is fast approaching, and I be reading books sometimes. Trying to prepare for the cold, I put my sweater on from a late worldwide. And I think anybody that's outside should rock or lay worldwide. You can be a nerd, you can be eccentric, you can be a jock, you can be a queen chick, it don't matter. Anything you got, we can cover, no problem. So get you a sweater, enjoy this cold weather. No one does it better than Olay Worldwide. Yeah. You can be a nerd, you can be eccentric, you can be a jock, you can be a queen chick, it don't matter. Anything you got, we can cover, no problem. So get you a sweater, enjoy this cold weather. No one does it better than Olay Worldwide.
Welcome back to Intimate Conversations with Talitha Kume, presented by Food for the Soul here on Hot 702.5 FM, and I am your host, Talitha Kume, here with my baby, Big Bobby B, and we are talking about us being a product of our environments.
Yes.
So what do you guys think? We already had a clinical psychologist or clinical doctor on the line
Jenny
that was talking about, what's her name?
I believe it's Miss Jenny Reed here. She's amazing. Everything
Jenny,
she sells great.
okay, Jenny Reed, and she also posted something on.
Copy this link.
Yeah, she posted something on our feed as well, so that we can go back and look at that and really talk about some of those things that are affecting us environmentally, our mental health. But the last thing that we want to talk about is the company that you keep, you guys, the company that you keep. And in this article, it says, whether you realize it or not, the company that you keep plays a huge role in who you are. Think about any period in your life when you were introduced to a totally new crowd. For example, when you were transferred schools or joined a boarding school or moved to a different city. Didn't you adopt the new place's slang, mannerisms, popular way of dressing, even their perceptions of various issues? Spend enough time in any crowd and you are bound to pick up a trait, a habit, a point of view, or two. Coupled with your own thoughts, habits, mannerisms, what you pick up from the people around you integrates to determine who you become, what character you have, what thoughts you have, and what perceptions you have of the world. And so it says, you may argue that you are a conscious, intelligent, and self-aware individual who is not easily swayed by the crowd, and this may all be true. But if you are constantly in an environment where you are surrounded by pessimistic, fear-based people, it is bound to impact your own confidence in yourself and the possibility of your dreams, therefore slowing down your progression. However, if you surround yourself with confident, optimistic, and insanely ambitious people, you are bound to pick up on their confidence, which will influence you to fiercely believe in the possibility of your own visions and follow them through to the end. So it says, this is a quote from Steve Jobs, surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers, the believers and the thinkers, but most of all, surround yourself with those who see greatness within you, even when you don't see it within yourself.
Yes. Well, that's really funny you say that.
Okay.
It's not my turn to talk, is it?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. I always think about like church whenever you say these things.
You always bringing up church. Why
Always.
is you always hating
Because
on the
I'm
church?
not hating. I'm not hating.
Jesus.
I'm saying there's only one real pastor I've ever met.
You hating on
And
the
that's
church.
Alton Dixon.
Okay.
Outside of him, every other pastor has been just about what they've wanted to be.
Which means what?
Just a follower of something that they just thought was right, not
Okay.
really being a real person.
Okay.
He's a real cat.
Okay.
If there's more people like him and like Terry, I think that the church wouldn't be as confusing, as messed up as it is.
Okay.
And I think that's when you said weak and you said happy and all these different environments and successful and all this other stuff. Like I look at like people like my little brother who I watch, to me, lose a lot because he won't step outside and do his thing. He feels like he has to stay up underneath the church.
Okay.
And I think that environment has killed his gift. Murdered his gift.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking. The churches are getting a really, really bad rap. I
think it was it's been a desperate waste of time for everybody for the past 100,000 years.
Yeah, because 2020 is just really revealing a lot, and whether it has been purposely or whether it has been ignorance, it has been a lot of things that have gone on in the church that possibly could have been avoided if we would have followed the textbook of how the church was ran, to me, in the Bible. That's my personal opinion.
Right.
So biblically, with the churches and how they ran in the Bible and how they showed them to be, would have been a perfect example of what we need right now in 2020, with just, small groups
Where's
of people.
all the big cats at? I ain't heard from nobody.
Right. I haven't been hearing a lot either, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with them, but I don't want to talk about the church, so we don't want to.
We're just talking about environments and
so we're
product
talking
of your
about
environment. So I think, yeah.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I agree. I agree with the product of your environment. So that you're saying the product of his environment being the church has killed his gift, anything that he would have going forward, because he continues to be around that environment of people.
Because he does everything dope in a closet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it pisses me off. Like, dude, why doesn't anybody know about this?
Right. Right.
You know.
I agree. Yeah.
No, sir. You're gonna die with that.
Yeah.
You're gonna die being a really great hider.
Yeah. I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
This article
That's
says it continues whether it is apparent to you or not, who you are as a person drifts towards the direction of the people you spend the most time with, because all important traits are contagious. Your beliefs, your values, your mood, your attitude, your mannerisms, your habits. You become exactly what you surround yourself with. It is a human inevitability that you will be influenced by your surroundings, which is why it is important to choose who you surround yourself very carefully. And so I was
birds
thinking,
of a feather?
yeah, I was thinking that. So I was thinking that they've always said birds of a feather flock together,
Right.
and I'm guessing that this is where this kind of comes from,
Right.
whether we want to hear it or believe it or not. You like, do you believe? I think we talked about this before about believing if that's true or not.
Like
if birds
getting
of a
mad
feather
when
flock
somebody
together.
calls you a hoe because you hang out with a bunch of hoes. Like,
Right.
oh, I'm not a.
Right.
Right.
Right, and so for me, like I was telling you a long time ago, I believe that wholeheartedly. Like my parents told me that, and I was like, oh my God, I can't surround myself with people who are like that. And so I have friends, at when I was younger in high school that were, had hoish tendencies in my personal opinion, and now, we don't even know what a hoe is for people. They deem it, different definitions.
Right.
But for me, it was someone who was promiscuous who slept around. And so my friends were like that when I was in high school, and I was not like that. I was actually a virgin in high school, and so I would get mad when they would say birds of a feather flock together, because I'm like, well, these are my friends that I find myself surrounded with. I'm like, but I'm not a hoe just because they're a hoe, and I can still be friends with them, and not sleep around because I choose not to sleep around. I'm not a follower.
Right.
I'm not a hoe or a follower, so I do what I want to do, but I wouldn't say that that I shouldn't hang around with them. But after a while, I saw how I was treated because of hanging around with them. So everybody kind of lumped me in the same category because we hung around, And so the birds of a feather thing really actually happened.
Right.
Now, did they change my way of thinking? I don't know. Because what I also was thinking about was, could it be our purpose to be around people to help them achieve or talk them down from ledges? Like, could we be tribal chiefs? And I'm talking about me and you. And I'm saying that to say that because we are so strong-willed, you and I, and there's so many people out here that are, they're not very heavily influenced by their surroundings because their makeup is to be able to pull people up. Like, excuse me, that's our job. That's our purpose. So being around people who were hoes, you know what I'm saying, or my definition of hoes back in the day, I didn't really get that I didn't get that whole thing, and I didn't change and conform to them, even though I was around them all the time, because purposefully my job was to help them come out of that.
Right.
Or let them know who they were. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that I'm perfect by any means, but what I'm saying is that I believe that God has gifted some people with a stronger ability to be able to withstand different things. So even though
you and I, we moved around a lot. I was in like 10 high schools or something like that.
Yeah, I was in about 3 or 4.
10. No, I was in 6 high schools.
Oh, I was only in about 3 or 4 high schools.
But because we're in so many different environments, I was able, I'm able to adapt.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's what it is.
Like,
yeah.
I'm able to help people through certain things that they think is hard or think is undoable because they're used to their little environment. They haven't been in other places.
Right.
So.
And like you said, with the environment, even though the environment shapes you, because we moved around so much, it didn't shape us that much because we were in a different environment like every other year.
Hard knocks shaped us. The rolling around, the moving around made us smooth and able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would suggest it for anybody, but that's what it was. So it says people you surround yourself with. So I'm going to discuss the idea or the things that we can do to change some of our environments or our company before we get out of here. So it's saying that people you surround yourself with play a key role in whether you become successful or not. It doesn't matter how skilled you are, whether you were born into money, or even where you were born. Going by John Ron's theory that you spend an average of 10 hours every day with other people, these people could be family members, a spouse, co-workers, or friends, whoever they are, note down the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, this is something that you guys, this is an activity that I'm giving you guys that you guys should do. And Bobby and I are definitely going to do this. So it says, whoever they are, note down the 5 people you spend the most time with. Ask yourself what you want from life. What level of success do you want to reach? Then ask yourself what each of these 5 individuals want from life. How ambitious are they? Are they making significant efforts toward their goals? Do their ambitions and efforts challenge you to be to better yourself? How happy are they? How enthusiastic are they? How supportive are they? Do they believe in you? Answer these questions as honestly as you can. Evaluate each one of these people carefully and determine if they are helping push you to the next level of your destination. Evaluate and determine if they are helping you bring your vision to fruition or deterring you from progressing. Once you have determined who is a positive influence to you and your goals, then continue to spend time with them and distance yourself from who is unhealthy for you. However, note that during this process, it is not necessary for the people you choose to keep to be successful themselves. They just have to have a positive influence in your life. They just have to challenge you because they are dreamers who are working towards their own goals, and they just have to believe in you and your dreams. So basically, it's just saying that when you do this 5, once you figure out who's for you and who may be a little bit unhealthy, it's saying that don't knock off those people who are not successful. So you may have that friend who may not be successful, or they may just be happy being a janitor, or being happy being a trash collector, or whatever that they are, but they are always encouraging you to be your better self. Just because they're not successful in society's eyes, or maybe not even successful in your eyes, but they're comfortable in their lifestyle and they're there for you, don't count those people out. So that's what this is saying. It also says to seek out people if you're struggling with discipline. Surround yourself with people who have already mastered a high level of discipline in order to boost your own.
Boom.
Seek out people with an insane level of self-control, willpower, and keep them close. This could very well be the secret to success. It says changing yourself begins with changing your environment. Making changes to your environment makes it easier to do what's right without having to think about staying motivated. If you set up your surroundings so that making the best decisions come easily, then you can set yourself up to practice better habits. Often we think that change comes from within. We believe that achieving a goal is about changing ourselves, but we discount the fact that optimizing our environment to make better choices can make a large impact on our actions. The changes may seem very, very small. For instance, it might not seem like much to move a book that you want to read from the shelf to your desk. But when you make incremental improvements to your environment, it becomes more easier to do what is right. Yep. So final thoughts, Bob. What is your final thoughts? Because we are at it looks like we're at 150.
Final thoughts is I had to wake all the way up, and this is exactly why we moved.
Exactly why we moved.
We all needed a restart and reset, and it was before all this COVID nonsense. Yeah. We're like, let's reset our life and move around so that way we can get to where we know and where we see ourselves being at in our heads.
Yes, absolutely.
So, that was detrimental.
Bobby talks about that all the time, where he sees himself at in his head. And that's a big thing. My final thoughts are: be specific and proactive about you and what you want out of life. You have to protect your spirit at all costs. If your people don't hold you accountable and check on you, then they may not be your people. Facts. If you find yourself moody or depressed all of the time, it could be your color palette at your house, the messiness or clutter of your house, or the lack of sleep you're getting that is changing you into the person you've become or are becoming. It is never too late to change once you figure out what it is that you need to change, you guys.
I know a lot of angry bloods.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what? Shut up, Bob. We thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to catch us live every Friday, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Hot 702.5 FM radio. Catch us live on MIXLR, downloaded from Google Play or Apple Store. Watch us live on FB on Hot 702.5 or Food for the Soul Media Group. Catch our Rewind show on Anchor or Spotify at Food for the Soul Media Group. And make sure you subscribe to all of our media outlets. And be sure to tune in next week for our Movie Monday of the month at 6 o'clock p.m. when Big Bobby B and I will be discussing the movie Captain Fantastic. Our show has been sponsored in part by Mook the Barber and Chris Products, Isla Cole the Stylist, and Orlay Worldwide. And if you would like to be a sponsor, hit us up at www.foodforthesoulmediagroup.press or email us at foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com. It's your girl, Talitha Kume, with my baby, Big Bobby B, who I'm going to try and get on this show, giving you something to talk about, and we will see you guys later.
I dedicate this song to all the people who want to know